Hey, welcome back. Back on it on Monday morning. Now this is the result of the acid. See, it turns the rust white. I still got to scrape all that off with the wire wheel. Now what I'm not sure how to do is get inside the A-pillar here. So me reaching way in. I'm not sure how I'm going to get in there and clean that up. I think I'm not sure, maybe I can neutralize that with like soap and water. Once it dries, treat it with Chloroseal or some other product. But right now, the stuff I can reach, I'm going to treat with the wire wheel. And then what I'm hoping to do is get to today is, I'm going to replace this piece right here, but I need to make a template. And the reason I know that is Rick Foley and Martin in Florida both contacted me and said, make sure you make a template so you get this piece in the right place. So I have this piece of plywood, and I think I'm going to connect these two holes with those two holes up top and a reference point regarding where the floor is, and this piece down here. So that template's going to hit like 4 points. So when I cut this piece off, how do I say it? I screw the new piece to it, and then it should be in the right place. Of course, I see all these marks for the, what do you call those, resistance welds from the factory that have to come off. But they'll be more prominent after I wire wheel it too. But then I cut them out, and that should help separate this piece from the piece behind it, which I still have to patch as well. Wow, that was a good half hour of straight just sitting in here and grinding with the, wire wheeling with the grinder. And you can still see, I missed a few spots. I haven't gotten up under there yet. I can't get in there. But what I want to do, I'm going to change wheels. I got a different wheel that might get a little tighter places like it back there. Get those crevices, and then I want to get a coat of primer on this. When I say primer, I'm going to use the Rust-Oleum Rust Reformer as primer, but I think eventually I want to put on like a 2K primer for the entire cab. And if anybody's got any opinions on which primer to use, 2K, 1K, I'm all ears because I don't know one from the other. I do want to grind a little bit more on here. And what I've been doing is getting carried away. See, I'm down to bare paint here. As I hit the orange comes off and leaves the green behind. That happened under here as well. So I'm getting there, and I keep staring at that going, oh my God, what did I get into there? But hopefully I can straighten that out somehow, some way. So I'm going to go at the detailed spots with that wire wheel there and see how that goes. Then I want to get up under here. I want to take out the vents for the defroster, take out the rest of the wiring, and if I get the switches out, that'd be great. But I might want to just concentrate on the passenger side for now. Clean this up a little bit, and I'm thinking maybe I should replace the floor before I replace the pocket, the hinge pocket, or I might have to do them both at the same time. Now, I was told, not told, suggested strongly by Glenn in Canada with his if you want to see somebody who really knows what they're doing, Redneck Coachworks is his website, but he said I should replace this whole piece instead of just the bottom. But I'm a minimalist. If I can get away with just replacing the bottom, I will. So let me do a little more wire wheel work and I'll get back to you. So I've been wire wheeling for so long, my hands are starting to, I won't say go numb, but they got a sensation, like a vibration sensation to them. I still got to get up in there, but I'm going to dump wire wheeling for today. I'm going to try to take apart some more stuff. But this wheel here is much more aggressive. You see it takes off the paint, takes off the orange paint, takes off the green paint. So I'm down to bare metal there, and then here in the back, really took off a lot more orange paint and left the green behind, which is cool. But I couldn't get into these little corners and nooks and crannies. But I have some small wire wheels that go on a drill that I might be able to get at those with. So let me take this apart, and then I want to vacuum out and spray the Rust-Oleum, just cover all the bare metal that I can and protect this. Well, I just went through a whole can of the Rust-Oleum rust reformer. Basically, I just want to coat everything that's exposed. Eventually, I figure I got to sand it down again and cover it with some kind of like a 2K primer or something better. I don't know. You see, I didn't get everything. I just got, you know, spot primed as best I could. I left that alone because I'm going to cut it out. Same with down there. And this looks pretty good down here. And of course, this has got to get cut out and changed. So I don't even know where to start as far as cutting. But I'm thinking the first thing I got to take out is this piece here, and then line up the floor pan. Has an indentation for that, but it doesn't have a hole, so you got to cut the hole in the indentation, and that'll locate where the floor pan goes, and hopefully it lines up with the seam that's here. But there's no guarantee with these aftermarket parts that that's going to happen. As we've learned with the 47, nothing really fits perfect. Usually takes a lot of, not a lot, but enough hammering and bending to take care of it. So I got that body bolt out, and now I'm trying to take this big washer off. And I'm just chipping away in here with a screwdriver like this. Feels like it's going to come up, either that or it's going to break away with the floor, which is going. And I'm thinking replacing the floor from like right here up to maybe about there, not too far up, and then back down again. Just get this little corner. So I bought that whole big floor pan, goes all the way over to that centerpiece, but this is solid. I'm not going to replace it. Why would I do that? Little weld here, across there, tack, 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 done. So now with the washer off, kind of see what's going on underneath. This is the floor pan, and it's, you know, rusted away all the way back to here. So if I want to replace the floor pan, even here it feels like something's going on here, a piece of rust. I should probably at least start cutting here and across there and get this out of here. And then the support, this is part of the cab support right here. You can see it's got holes in it. Right, where's my finger? There it is. And that needs to be patched before you do anything else. So I want to expose that, patch it, and get it cleaned up. That's going to be my next thing. So I think I'm going to go get my cutoff wheel and make some of this floorboard go away. So I just cleaned that up a little bit with the wire wheel before I started cutting. And I just point this out again. This is they call it the cab support or the floor support, but it's part of the cab. So it's welded down in here, which, you know, it's hollow and it's not doing too well. I could replace that whole piece too. I mean, I could replace the whole cab, but this is the floor pan itself. So I'm going to just cut just a little bit away just to get at that. And then I'm going to try to chase this as much as I can with the acid. And I don't think I'm going to go much further, but I'm going to try to get in there once the floor pan's out of the way and reach in with acid or a Seal or some product. And then these holes, what I'm going to do is patch them up with patch panels. You know, little, cut it out and just patch it so it has its strength back. So that's the plan. So let me just cut this away real quick with the cutting wheel. So there it is, cut away. Now I can clean that up a little bit better. Clean this up and treat the rust. But I want you to notice too, see, this floor pan is really two pieces. There's a big seam runs straight across. It's spot welded together so there's a front floor pan and a rear floor pan. The replacement floor pan is one solid piece. There's no seam. So what I'd like to do is maybe pull this up a little bit right here and slip the new piece underneath and maybe tack it from underneath if I can, or maybe drill some holes and make puddle welds to look like spot welds. But I do not want to replace this one piece all the way back to here, even though I have it. I have all that material. Why would I do that? It's just way too much work. See, I started drilling out the spot welds, holding the pocket in that I want to replace. But I got to be careful and not get it too far ahead of myself, because I still haven't built the template to make sure I put it back in the same place it came out of. So I got to do all these spot welds here. There's looks like 3 or 4 down here. I don't see any here. But then around this side, this whole side is done. And after that, I go after them with this tool here, like a little baby hole saw. And that'll finish off those welds. That thing should come right off once I cut across here. There's my finger in the way. Let me get that out of there. So once I cut across here, this will just lift right out of there. This reminds me of a story. Not a story, but something, you know, I worked on clean energy power plant, which blew up. And I was hanging out with the Boilermakers, and one of the Boilermakers from Connecticut, his name is Dan. If you're a Connecticut Boilermaker, you know who I'm talking about. It's a relatively small union. The guys all know each other. But just matter of factly, I said, you know, what are you guys going to do about the Hertzig units, which are really 3 stories high giant radiators? He just, like, matter of factly goes, we're going to cut our way in, weld our way out. Just like another day at work. It was so awesome. Starting to wind down for the day. I got pretty far. I've located all the spot welds that I'm going to remove. I'm still going to build the template, like I said before. But then, as I'm starting to put the tools away, I started stripping some more stuff off the firewall, like the inner body mount that goes there. And then I just got out my hammer. I said, let me take a shot at that right there and see how that goes. It just annoys me, and I want to start wire wheeling this firewall on the outside here. And before I do that, I just want to straighten that out as best I can, if I can. I like the way that came out. It wasn't that hard. Could probably use a little more tapping here and there. I also use these pliers to kind of bend it down to start with, and then tapped it with the hammer and dolly. It's got a little dip in it right there. I could probably bend it right back up again if I wanted to. But before I do that, I'm going to probably hit it with the wire wheel. And I think I want to take these out. I think these hold in or held in. There's probably a rubber gasket. So I should probably pull those out and then go over that whole thing with a wire wheel. But now that I think about it, I'm not going to do that. I'm starting to get too far away from the work I started, which is over here. So I got to keep focused. Over here, finish this, and then I can go to the outside of the firewall and the details on that. So I'm going to wrap this up for today. Thanks for watching.